So I've got a little visitor with me for today's video. I want to introduce you to our beautiful girl, Skylar May. She's 4 weeks old now, so we've had a few weeks where we've just been in our little bubble, trying to get into this routine now and get used to things. But she's amazing, she's growing so much, I can't believe how big she already is. I think she's about £2 heavier now than what she was at her birth weight, so she is getting to be a chunk, but she's absolutely amazing, she's perfect, and we just can't believe she's here. So I thought now would be a good time to sit down with you and just go through our birth story and really finish off this journey that we've taken you along on. So before I start, I just wanted to say that this video isn't in any way a brag about the birth I had, because everybody's birth is completely different, and unfortunately some people's experiences aren't as positive, so I don't want to take that away from anybody, and I don't want to think that I am just boasting about the birth I had. All I want to do is just share our story and what happened, because this was a birth that we really actually wanted to film. We wanted to take you along with us for our birth, but it didn't happen quite how we thought it would, so we wasn't able to do that, so I thought I'll sit down with you and share it instead. So on a Thursday evening we went for a walk, and when we came back I started to get the Braxton Hicks that I usually get, but they were becoming more frequent. Now I just assumed that this was my body preparing to go into labour, but that it would happen in a few days, because I know sometimes you get signals a couple of days up until you go into labour, so I didn't think much of it. And then it wasn't until we went to go to bed, and I literally went and laid in bed, and just as I got laid down I felt this gush of water, and I just sort of said to Peter, turn the light on, because I think my waters have just broke, which in fact they did. So we rang the hospital and they said, come in, we will double check that it is your waters, and then if it is, you have 24 hours in which to go into labour, and if you're not, we'll progress it for you. By this point I wasn't having contractions or anything, so we got ready to go into hospital, and as we got into the car my contractions did start. Now the hospital that we chose to have Skylar in was the hospital where we originally lived, so it's about a 40-minute drive from here. And as we got into the car my contractions started, and I thought I'll start using the app that I have on my phone, I think it's called literally contraction timer, and start timing them. With every contraction they got stronger and stronger, but they got very quickly closer and closer together, and I think we got halfway to the hospital and this app was saying to me, you need to start now, head into hospital, it's now time. I thought, oh my gosh, this has happened quick. So by the time we got to hospital I was in agony, I was in so much pain, so we headed up to the triage ward, which was where they asked us to go. They checked my waters and confirmed that my waters did break, however they found meconium within my waters, which basically means that she had pooed inside me. Now when that happens they like to keep a closer monitor of you and baby, obviously, because if they digest it within their lungs it can cause problems. So they said that we're going to have to keep you in and kickstart your labour, but by this point my labour had started, my contractions were intense, which they could see. I started then asking if I could have some pain relief because I was in quite a lot of pain. Now on the triage ward, all they can give you is paracetamol, which doesn't help. So he gave me some paracetamol and said, we're going to try and contact the labour ward so you can go up. We just have to wait until we get hold of them. So that was about an hour, and I remember sat in this triage ward with a load of other ladies, and I was in agony. I was crying, screaming, And I just felt so guilty because these other ladies had come onto this ward probably to be monitored or things like that, and now I'm here sat crying, screaming, and they probably thought, what on earth is going on? And I just remember asking the nurses if they could please check me. I felt like she was really, really low and my pain was getting quite intense, but they couldn't. And then we eventually got onto the labour ward, and by this point I'm crying and I'm screaming. And the midwife we had on the labour ward was thankfully so fantastic. She was so lovely, and she was like, look, before we do anything, I'm going to check you because you do seem like you're in quite a lot of pain. So she checked me and she's like, right, you're 8 centimetres, that's why you're in this pain. You're nearly at the point at which you need to push. And I remember turning to Peter and saying, you need to go get the bags from the car because soon we are going to have to start pushing, and you can't have any pain relief apart from gas and air because you're near the end now. And I think it was quite a shock to hear that, because the nurses on the triage ward, I think they, because it was my first, they assumed that I was being quite dramatic and my pain threshold wasn't very well. And when I kept saying I can feel it really low, I can feel it really low, I don't think they believed me because of how quick it was. So it was quite reassuring to know that I knew my body and what I was telling them was true. So all I can say is, if anybody does experience that, go with it and push, and you know your body better than anybody else. So Peter went to go get the bags and get everything ready, and then about an hour later we was at the position where I was ready to push, which, wow, it's an experience in itself, all I can say. And the midwife I had was so amazing at this. She just kept saying, go with your body. I'm here just to support you, but whatever you feel like you need to do and whatever your body is telling you to do it. And for me, I think that really helped. She wasn't stopping me from doing something that I felt I needed to do. So when I said to her, I feel like I need to push, she was like, do it. If your body's telling you to push, push. So I started pushing, and at just after 2 o'clock, our beautiful little girl arrived very quickly, crying as she came out, which for me was so reassuring. Obviously with her pooing inside me, they always say if they come out crying, that's a really good sign that the lungs are doing well. And it was such a shock but amazing experience in itself. Yeah, I think we all of our pregnancy, we kind of kept on tenterhooks, and we didn't want to get too excited just in case anything was to happen. We didn't want to get our hopes up. So when she arrived, it was truly magical, because I then really believed that I was having a little girl and a little baby, and that she was here and well. I'm trying not to cry. Yeah, it was amazing. And Peter got to cut a cord, and we had to stay in just for an extra 12 hours to check on her, but she's absolutely fine. She's doing amazing and growing and just magical. These last few years and our experience of trying for a baby has been a roller coaster of different emotions. You know, we had 3 years where I felt like it was going to be impossible, and I felt like we was never going to have our little family. So to be where we are today is a dream come true. And all I can say is, if anybody's going through it or thinking of trying but feel like they could be in the same situation we're in, where they might struggle a bit, all I can say is don't give up. Never give up. And if you're as determined, you will get whatever you want to achieve. And I can promise you that the ending is so rewarding that it is worth every tear and every fight that you went through to get your little girl or boy at the end. So stay positive and you can do it. But I just wanted to say thank you for everybody that's gone on the journey with us, watched our videos and sent us so much love. I'm not sure whether we'll be doing any more videos or whether you want to see any more videos as she grows up, our routine, and just things that we probably found tough and things we've learnt since she's here. So if you do, let me know. But yeah, thank you ever so much for coming on this journey with us, and hopefully we will have some more videos of her soon.